Today is a day of justice. It's a day of justice for those brave men of the SAS who stood up and told the truth about who Ben Roberts-Smith is. A war criminal, a bully and a liar.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to Media Watch and to a historic victory for the media in what was rightly called the defamation trial of the century, in which Australia's most decorated living war hero, Ben Roberts-Smith, holder of the Victoria Cross, was suing two of Australia's most decorated journalists, Nick McKenzie and Chris Masters. But when Justice Anthony Buzanko handed down his verdict last Thursday,
in light of my conclusions, each proceeding must be dismissed.
It was Australia's one-time Father of the Year who found himself falling from hero to zero amid headlines like this.
Murder.
War criminal.
War hero to zero.
Ben Roberts-Smith wasn't in court to taste defeat, even though he brought the civil court action. He'd been spotted the previous day by Nine's cameras relaxing by the pool in Bali. But his accusers were in court, and in an interview with 60 Minutes, an emotional Nick McKenzie revealed how hard the case had been.
The anxiety and stress of being called by Roberts-Smith and his many thousands of backers in the military community, not just a liar, not just a scumbag, but I've had people say, I'm going to come and cut your throat, you fucking wanker, regularly.
The stakes in this case could not have been higher. A hero's reputation, the honour of our soldiers and the future of investigative journalism were all on the line. But after a 5-year battle with 101 days of evidence, 41 witnesses, 6,000 pages of transcript and around $30 million in legal costs to be paid by Roberts-Smith or his supporters, the verdict was clear.
A man that was put on a pedestal as the face of modern Australia, the noble image of a soldier at war, is a liar, is a war criminal. A man who was said to be an exemplar of what it was and what it is to be in the Australian military is a common, ugly murderer.
Not since Oscar Wilde sued for libel and ended up in Reading jail has a decision to sue been so disastrous. So, how did it all go wrong? Back in 2018, after a year-long investigation into our forces in Afghanistan, The Age, Sydney Morning Herald and Canberra Times published these front-page stories.
SAS's day of shame. Blood ties.
SAS rookie told to shoot unarmed man.
And soon after that, their sights turned on Roberts-Smith, with a series of stories alleging he'd bullied his fellow soldiers in Afghanistan, was involved in the unlawful killing of 6 civilians there, and had assaulted his former mistress. The war hero denied all the allegations and insisted they were lies. By then, he was working for Channel 7 as Queensland General Manager. And bankrolled by his billionaire boss, Kerry Stokes, who was soon railing in public about scumbag journalists, he sued for damages.
Kerry Stokes financed Ben Roberts-Smith, this defamation fight. This is a media proprietor who should believe in journalism, yet he was waging a huge war against investigative journalism. What does that say? That there are questions that only Kerry Stokes can answer, but what does that say about his support of the media?
At first, many in the media took the soldiers' side, especially at Stokes' West Australian.
Attacks on our son have destroyed his life.
VC hero reveals heartbreak at murder claims.
And after his first day of evidence, News Corp's tabloids also backed BRS, with Sydney's Daily Telegraph proclaiming he was a
victim of liars and cowards.
While Brisbane's Courier Mail declared he was a
hero, not psycho.
But as Roberts-Smith's SAS comrades filed into court to testify against him, with names and faces obscured to protect them, the tabloid headlines began to tell a different story of killing and bullying and killing. And the TV bulletins told a similar tale.
An elite soldier has told the federal court he witnessed Ben Roberts-Smith kill an Afghan man and order the execution of another in 2009.
In the end, the weight of evidence was impossible to deny. Reading a summary of his judgment last Thursday in Sydney's federal court, Justice Buzanko found in favour of the journalists on the key allegations time and time again.
All up, it was found Roberts-Smith either carried out or was complicit in 4 murders.
By machine gunning a man with a prosthetic leg.
The prosthetic leg became a trophy, taken back to base, used to drink beer. In that same mission, it was proven Roberts-Smith ordered a newly deployed soldier to execute an elderly man in an initiation process called blooding the rookie.
Proving truth in defamation cases is always incredibly hard. not least because judges do not love the media, and journalists rarely manage it. But this verdict shows that if reporters do their work meticulously and have the backing of their publishers, they can win. All the same, Chris Masters, who's fought and won more legal battles than he can count, could only exhale.
It's a relief for the media, frankly. We're so often on our knees. It often feels so hard to even do ordinary work, let alone work as difficult as this. So this judgment comes as a great relief.
So, what does it mean for the media and for what you can read? Frankly, a lot.
If we lost this case, basically, it would have set a precedent that difficult investigative journalism can't be done or can only be done with great caution in Australia. It would have ensured that newsrooms around the country didn't take on the hard story.
So, give thanks for that. But as Masters later reflected,
the case took 5 years to determine and about $30 million was spent. I'm not sure how much of that 9 will ever recover. So it is still a very costly exercise.
So, plaudits all round. To 9 for risking millions on the fight, to those SAS soldiers who bravely told the truth, to the reporters and lawyers who gave years of their lives to the battle, and to Afghan witnesses like Mohammed Hanifa, kept in a safe house in Kabul for 5 months by 9, who jumped up to make this heartfelt plea to the court after lawyers for Robert Smith accused him of lying.
Even if I die, I will tell the truth. You know, this is the Pashto customs. It is the tradition. And this is the law. If you witness something like a crime, you have to testify about it.
Not many publishers would have risked what 9 did to defend their reporting, and none would want to do it again. As defamation guru Matt Collins, KC, told The Herald,
no publisher or broadcaster, however deep its pockets, can afford to defend many cases of this kind. The temptation for all media, in the face of the eye-watering costs and risks involved in preparing and then defending serious investigative journalism, is to retreat to cheaper and safer options, to prefer trivia over substance and comment over news.
We should all give thanks that 9 chose not to do that. Let's hope it will embolden others to do the same. But now, let's leave the courtroom and go to another sensational media story of the week, also involving the folks at 9.
Australian garlic kills COVID-19, says Doherty Institute.
Yes, garlic doesn't just keep vampires away, it also kills COVID, the Australian Financial Review told us. And having been stuck at home all week with the virus, I was riveted by this so-called world-first research, which was producing headlines right across the media, telling us Australian garlic could ward off COVID-19 or limit the spread of COVID and influenza A. And nowhere was it bigger than on 9's TV News, which was first with the story.
The rare super garlic scientifically proven to ward off flu and COVID. A 9 News exclusive tonight at 6.
Yes, why bother with those fancy mRNA vaccines when a bulb of garlic can save us all? Let's all rely instead on 9's medical marvel.
A tiny Australian farming town has uncovered a type of garlic so potent, scientists have used it to stop COVID in its tracks. Lab testing revealed 3 particular types of the vegetable can stave off both influenza A and the COVID Delta strain.
And that's not just 9 or the garlic growers telling us, it is the Doherty Institute. So it must be for real. With reporter Laura Turner explaining.
The reason they got the Doherty Institute on board was because they wanted to prove the garlic supplement they were developing wasn't a gimmick.
Based in Melbourne, the Peter Doherty Institute for Infection and Immunity is named after an Australian Nobel Prize winner, and it is a serious outfit. So, if they've tested this garlic extract, you can bet it's good. And Doherty's Dr. Julie McCauley was on 9 to tell us they had.
And yeah, we did lots and lots of tests of lots of different products, and we found one of their products really was quite active.
And next day, Dr. McCauley was all over the radio explaining how this COVID killer would work.
What the garlic extract can do is combine with the virus and prevent it from infecting the cells in our digestive tract. It'll help keep that virus load down there so that our immune system can actually go on and attack the virus where it mainly infects in our respiratory tract.
Dr. McCauley also told listeners who get COVID,
if you've got it, take these dietary supplements along with whatever your doctor prescribes.
Now, the research has not yet been published or peer-reviewed, But this special garlic is 99.9% effective in killing the viruses that cause COVID and the flu. And who tells us? The press release, which is issued by Australian Garlic, who paid for the Doherty Institute research. Oh dear, I hear you say. Yes, the research was paid for by the people flogging the remedy, which is something that Nine News and many others did not make clear. And another little fact often lost in the hype was that, quote,
this new research involved in vitro testing.
Which means research was not done on humans, but in a test tube. So there is no actual evidence that the extract will kill COVID when it gets into your gut. As one expert in pharmacology told us with a sigh,
many things kill viruses in dishes, including extract of old shoes. Garlic extract has excellent antiviral properties in tissue culture, but these things rarely survive the digestive tract to reach a useful concentration in the body.
oh dear again. And there's another even bigger problem, which is that COVID is famously a respiratory infection, as I discovered this week. So, would it really help if garlic did kill the virus in the gut? That's unlikely, according to Dr. Ian Musgrave, who told us,
the major issue and really serious effects is the virus binding in the lungs and the effects on circulation and the heart. So affecting the GI tract is not likely to have a significant impact on the course of COVID.
oh dear again. And in any case, as epidemiologist Gideon Meyerowitz-Katz told the Science Media Centre,
we won't know if this product helps with COVID-19 or influenza until we run clinical trials in real people rather than petri dishes in a lab.
None of this was highlighted by the media or the Doherty Institute in the rash of stories, leaving the door open to anti-COVID vaxxers like former MP Craig Kelly to tweet,
garlic. How stupid must the world feel today, having wasted hundreds of billions of dollars on useless vaccines, when it's now discovered that garlic kills COVID?
And how stupid must the media feel for swallowing all that garlic PR? But why was Dr. Macaulay so upbeat about the vegetable's effects? And was the Doherty Institute concerned about unsupported claims? They told us,
the Doherty Institute apologises for causing any confusion. Garlic is not a treatment for COVID-19 nor influenza A. Further development and formal clinical trials are required to determine if our findings observed in the laboratory will translate to clinical benefit in people.
A crushing blow for garlic lovers, the full back down. And finally, to a fond farewell for a political hero of the West.
Remarkable.
Exhausted Premier shocks political world with bombshell resignation.
Remarkable is one way to describe the media coverage for Mark McGowan's announcement. Fawning is another, with the state's leading paper coughing up 15 pages of coverage and showering the Premier again with superhero status. And there were more sweet treats inside.
Captain Westralia bows out on own terms.
His place in Labour's pantheon of greats is guaranteed.
It was amazing stuff. But McGowan has blitzed his political opposition, delivered strong budget surpluses and chummed up with the West's owner, Kerry Stokes. And if you're still wondering why there's so much love for the man the West dubbed State Daddy, the paper was happy to explain.
Just 5 letters, COVID. The hard border was arguably the most popular policy in the history of modern WA politics.
Popular in WA, it certainly was, sending McGowan's approval rating to 91%. But it was also devastating for those left on the wrong side of the line, as these headlines from the Time remind us. Yet in the celebration of McGowan's political legacy, there was little room for such subtleties on Perth's evening TV news bulletins. Instead, it was cheers all round.
Seeing what he done during COVID over here, that was amazing.
I think it'll be hard to beat him.
He's a legend and he'll be warmly remembered over the decades.
His rise to fame even sparking a song.
Do you want to pick me up? Go to the pub and then grab a kebab with me, Mark McGowan.
And a cereal renamed State Daddy-O's.
And who can forget this moment from a couple of years ago during the height of the pandemic, which was getting a reprise on 10.
Take advantage in a responsible...
And that neatly sums up the media vibe last week. In Seven's 10 minutes of local coverage on Monday night, the only negative mentioned was this.
A hospital crisis and housing shortage will be left to his successor to solve.
Talk about souring the moment. But outside the state, commentators did not hold back. with Tony Wright joking in The Age that McGowan was exhausted from all his political good fortune, while the Daily Mail was running one Perth father's account of what McGowan's 697-day border closure meant for his family.
His heartless policies ripped families apart and claimed lives, including my daughters, and that will always be his legacy.
Amid the cheers for McGowan, that was one story WA media was staying away from. As Seven's Jeff Parry says,
whoever is his successor will never reach those dizzying heights of popularity that State Daddy did.
And probably not in the media either. Remarkable really does sum it up. That's all from us for tonight. You can read a full statement from the Doherty Institute on our website. And don't forget Media Bites on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram. But for now, till next week, goodbye.